Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I probably have burned bridges and caused people to be upset with me. I think sometimes for reasons that I might not be fully aware of, but I have no doubt that I've pissed people off or caused issues along the way. And sometimes it just is what it is. But in other instances,
welcome back, Intactivists. This is the final part of the Carter interview. If you missed part 1 and 2, consider going back to watch those first. Back to the grilling questions, we'll call them. So how many circumcisions have you prevented so far, if you kept count?
there have definitely been conversations that I've had in person that have directly led to an individual parent or a set of parents deciding to go a different direction, or in other words, avoid circumcising their child or not circumcising their child. And in those types of situations, I would say that that has occurred. Now it's been like 7 years since I've been doing it, but maybe I'm just trying to run through my head, 12, 14 times, maybe 12, 14 times. But I've done so much advocacy online and in YouTube videos and things. I feel like there's been some downstream effect of that. So to gauge how many children I've actually saved, and I've had conversations online as well. So that I know of, maybe like 25 to 30 that I'm kind of like aware of and actually personally know the people. And I've been doing this for 7 years now, and I'm very outspoken about it pretty regularly. I would have thought there would have even been more at this point, but that's probably around the number that it's at. But then I just feel like there's all this downstream effect of all the conversations that I've had. So it's impossible to estimate that, but it could be hundreds or thousands. So
yeah, that is true. That is true. It's kind of hard to tell, like the butterfly effect. You tell one person, they tell another person, and they have a kid, right. And then the kid has a kid. Yeah. All right. Another question. You apply agile methods and MVPs for websites to create value in every 2-week sprint. Why haven't you used the same methods to create value via reduced circumcision / justice for victims for the past 2 years? Are you doing a 2-year sprint, a 5-year sprint, or a lifelong sprint? End question.
It's a pretty good question. Really just part of a larger conversation. Like, why can so many of us, like the way we approach intactivism is there's this extremely chaotic burst of energy and we get involved with it. And then that energy starts dissipating and we get kind of depressed and not interested in it. Like, I'm like, I want to get away from this shit now. So I've just been like going back and forth, cycling through those states for 7 years now. And so I'll like, for 1 week, I'll get super motivated. I'll have all the energy in the world to address this. And then the next week or 2 weeks down the line, all that energy starts fading and it gets replaced with depression and anxiety and all of these complicated feelings that make it really challenging to stay engaged with what I was working on. And all I want to do is run away. So I go from, it becomes the only thing I'm focusing on to the thing that I want to run away from most. And it's just this cyclical pattern that has been going on for 7 years. It was like 1 week off, 1 week on, or 1 month on, 1 month off. And it makes it really, really challenging for me to stay focused on something for obvious reasons. So I think that's what it comes down to, is I approach this in a totally manic way. And it's not even like, oh, I approach this in a manic way. I'm a manic person, or I have a type of manic disorder around this subject. And, you call it bipolar, you call it whatever you want, but I do go through those phases of this incredible energy, all the energy in the world to address this, to it. And then it doesn't just like completely collapse. It's like over a couple days, it'll dissipate more and more and more and more until I'm just at rock bottom again and just depressed, want to run away from the topic as much as possible. And then it slowly creeps up again. And then I'm at absolute peak energy. I want everything to do with this. I can take on the world, to rock bottom again. And it's almost like this issue caused me to develop a type of bipolar depression, because it's just this constant cycle of these they're not even highs. It's just all this energy, all of this. I can even be, really, really upset or distressed, but it's just I get all of this energy. I feel like I can take on the world and then collapse, and then it slowly collapses too, but I do hit rock bottom, and then it's just I'm on the journey again. So why have I not been able to hit consistent sprints or have any type of consistency? I think that's the reason why, is because I have extremely chaotic psychological states, and during the times where I want to run away from this, I'm obviously not doing anything related to intactivism. So I get like, oh, 1 week I'm all locked in, then bam, the next week have completely ran away from this entirely. I'm not answering any messages from people. I just want to be away from it. And that's I think partially why, at least partially, that's the reason why, is because I have a manic type of psychology around this.
Okay, so I have a question about that. How much percentage-wise would you give that to just the topic of circumcision itself, and how much would you equate this to just your personality and the community of intactivists themselves? Like, if you had to go in those three buckets, like, what would you give the percentage?
That's a great question. I think they all play a role together, or there's some overlap there. But I do think that my personality and the psychological profile that I have makes it very easy for me to slip into this type of state, or these types of states, and I kind of gravitate towards them naturally, maybe. But this particular issue potentated it dramatically.
Okay, so next question, and this might answer three questions. What metrics are you using to measure the outcome of your projects?
No, I'm not doing any type of formal measuring.
Okay, that's what I figured. That answers all three of them, because it was all just asking, well, what kind of like proof for these metrics, and what in the wait, what is this? I'm sorry. Um, okay, it says if not. Okay, this is an if not question. So if not, why should someone spend their efforts in your projects instead of ones that have removed citations of AAP policy from websites, received letters from parents that they won't circumcise, or stopped a state bill from funding over 1,000 circumcisions? That's it. That's a question.
Yeah. I think I'm not communicating something properly. Like I'm not an intactivist.
I mean, this is just a fan question. So like, I mean, I didn't ask this question. So
Right. I mean, I'm not really asking. I don't know if I'm really requesting that anyone invest in the projects that I'm working on. So that's one thing. If people are gravitating towards me, it's not just because of intactivism. I'm interested in making a play for the executive leadership of the United States of America. So somebody who's like gravitating towards me and is interested in moving in the direction that I'm interested in, that's also a huge part of the equation. It's not just ending infant circumcision, it's capturing the United States federal government at the executive, legislative, and judicial level, a total capture. So I think my whole agenda and goal is different than intactivism's. This is just one part of the mutilation of children is just one part of the issue.
okay, that's actually a perfect follow-up question to this. Is why have you spent more time and energy posting on Facebook and Discord, defending online trolls, researching UV rays, and researching veganism than doing projects that actually lead to reducing circumcisions or justice for MGM victims?
That's a fair question. I think that it's really, though, I focus on where immediately my mind is taking me. So I'm not sure I'm really somebody that is planning things out like 10 steps ahead oftentimes, or thinking through it that deeply, to be honest with you. I know that reflects poorly on me, but that is the reality of the situation.
Hey, you're doing what you can with what you have, yeah? So these two questions kind of go together. Why have you completed none of your projects and have yet to scale any of them for the past 2 years? And this other question says, why do all of your projects take several years to complete with no feedback or iterations every 2 weeks? It's interesting because you've completed none of your projects in one question, but then you've completed some of your projects, but they take several years. There you go. That's the question.
Yeah, it's a fair question. I mean, like I feel like I've at least partially answered it already, and it's just that I'm totally scatterbrained on this topic and on advocacy around this topic. So there will be 1 week where I have all the energy in the world, like I was saying, and then the next week I'm catastrophically depressed over it. So that just makes it really challenging to have consistency. And I know, oh, he's just using it as an excuse. I at least hope the people in intactivism, at least some people understand where I'm coming from here. It's got to be, the lowest lows. That's obviously not the lowest possible, but it's some low lows that I experience. And when I'm in that state, I don't want anything to do with this subject. It would be like cruel to force somebody in that psychological state to deal with this when they're really suffering over it.
Hey guys, it's me, Pods. I'm briefly interrupting this interview to let you know about the Pods e-commerce program. It is vital to keeping the Prevail Over the System channel alive. Go and join us on our Discord to learn more. And best of all, it's free to partake in the Pods e-commerce program, and we don't need any of your information whatsoever. This helps us keep the interviews coming along with other Intactivist content to empower, teach, and update Intactivists with very important information, as well as being the voice for the Intactivist public. Thank you all so much. Okay, now back to the interview. Okay, and then here's another question. I was kind of debating on asking this one, but I'm actually curious about this. It says, do you have anything to say to Intactivists whose trust has been betrayed by you and your online non-Intactivist friends to regain confidence that you'll actually save a single baby from mutilation, which you've answered that you have, or help one survivor of MGM heal in the next 30 days? So my question is, I'm going to kind of make this a better question because this question is kind of just like, I'm mad at you. Have you ever betrayed anybody? Like, what have you said you're going to do something and then just like went ghost for like a very long time? Because I think that's kind of what like the trust you've been betraying, I guess. Like, can you elaborate on this question for people who don't know? Because I don't know, honestly.
I mean, I totally think it's a fair question. And I probably have burned bridges and caused people to be upset with me. I think sometimes for reasons that I might not be fully aware of, but I have no doubt that I've pissed people off or caused issues along the way. And sometimes it just is what it is. But in other instances, I'm not above apologizing or saying that I didn't handle that appropriately. But I don't, in this instance, I really don't know what we're talking about here. So it's a little challenging to give a strong response. But I think that totally that could have happened. I could have burned bridges with people.
Okay, yeah, and I appreciate the honesty. That's awesome. So one last question. It's actually an image. I don't actually know what this image even is of. Once again, you can go to Discord and check it. It says, "What does Carter think about this image?" It's on Discord. Questions for interviewers. You can just go ahead and check it. I'll put it on the screen for everybody.
I'm going to it right now.
Yeah, so people can go ahead and see it. And
I think they're just saying like, you've been so delinquent on the deadlines and stuff that you think you send. But I also, am a instructor at a coding school as one of my part-time jobs. So I wonder if it was related to that or something. But I don't know. I have no idea the context of that. Beyond, I think what it is, you're just super late. You're taking a long time to get shit done, basically.
Oh, is that a meme? Is that what this person did?
I think so. It's a pretty weak one. It's a pretty weak one. It's I almost am like, I'm fine with getting the a little tongue-in-cheek joke here or coming out, but I just don't even get it's just not a great meme. So that's why I'm not.
I thought this was
just a poor meme. Yeah.
I thought this was something taken out of like your test book or something, like you were doing an online class or something and you shared it with people like, oh man, I am so late on this assignment or whatever. Okay, I thought it was something like more realistic. Yeah, I didn't know it was like a meme thing. Well, Carter, I appreciate your time being on here. Well, you have answered a lot of questions. You actually answered 17 fan questions. Congratulations. That's the most
hey, look at that.
anyone has ever gotten. So you're very popular still. That's awesome. So if you have anything for our audience, if they have to take one thing away from this entire interview, which is probably going to be 2 hours at this point, what would it be?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, one I'm not really prepared for. But if you want to, if what I shared resonated with you in any way today, find a way to reach out to me. I'll give Potts, maybe my Discord server that I manage. I'll give the link for that, or I'll share some of my socials and get in touch with me. I want to connect with people that aren't activists, definitely, but recognize beyond that, beyond just the scope of what intactivism is right now, and recognize, not just how, but why we need to use this issue to achieve power, why we're the best fit to be the authority in our society, and why the people who have mutilated children are the worst fit to be the authority in our society. And like I said, at every level, at the family, at the city level, at the state level, at the federal level, everywhere where we can find authority, this issue is going to be weaponized against the people that are in authoritative positions. So if that is resonating with you, just the total weaponization of this issue, and not just the weaponization, but using it as a sword and a shield to take complete executive, judicial, and legislative control over the United States of America, then definitely reach out to me. We're of the same mind and are moving in the same direction.
All right, awesome. And what do you think of Prevail over the system?
Yeah, I think it's great. It is content. I mean, it's content that I watch. So from that perspective, at least it's a channel that I regularly watch. I don't have even I'm not somebody who has too much time. And this is something that I regularly watch. And so at least from my perspective, it's great. It's great content.
All right, awesome. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, all right. Thank you for being
I'm
on.
probably the best audience possible for it, but I'm the exact right target audience. But I do watch, a majority of the material you put out. Like when I'm like going to bed, or I'm like seeing a list of YouTube videos I can watch. Like oftentimes I watch YouTube videos before I go to sleep, or when I have some downtime. Your videos are always on my feed, that I see right when I go to the homepage, and I'll always click on them when I see them. So I'll check them out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, that was Carter Steinhoff, part 3. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll put his links down in the description below so you can follow him. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our other interviews and our other Intactivist content that we will release every single week. Thank you guys so much for listening and hanging out with me and Carter. Please share and like this video to get this out to more people. Bye.